Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
And Rudd, editor-in-chief.
Andrew Stretch, sleep-deprived editor.
Yeah, this man has slept 5 hours since Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It's been a wild weekend so far, and it's only Saturday. I cannot wait to play this game until midnight again tonight.
At the time of recording, right? I
guess at the time of recording.
We should like phrase it with that, right? Like this podcast comes out Monday. He's probably slept more than 5 hours by then. I hope.
I won't. Challenge
double.
Come on. Yeah. I'll avoid it.
He'll have slept 10 hours by then.
Yeah. You know, at this point, I think Link has slept more than you. Like your Link has slept more than you.
He's got a sweet fucking mullet because of it.
Well, Link also doesn't count because, like, already with the first game, he slept for 100 years.
Oh, that's right. He's kind of got
wonder
all
he can
of
do so many inhuman feats. I could do anything if I get 8 hours. Come on.
It's true. Yeah. This week, we're obviously going to talk about Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom because that's the only video game now. But first,
there's no reason to own any other video games for a little while.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
But first, let's get into some news. There's been a lot of financial call reports for fiscal year stuff. If any of that interests you, we do have a lot of those stories on our site at techraptor.net. You can see some companies are up, some companies are down. Square Enix is actually a little down. So they're going to double down on cryptocurrency if that's something you want to learn more about.
Instead of making a huge profit, they only made a kind of big profit.
Yes. But the ones we want to focus on in today's episode, Andrew Wilson, head of EA Electronic Arts, it's in the game, had a conference call where he talked about kind of EA's future. Some of the big highlights from it, Jedi Survivor is tracking pretty well, which kind of isn't a surprise. You know, Fallen Order was a pretty big hit for them.
It is a surprise. It's a Star Wars property that is getting praise.
That is true.
That doesn't happen very frequently.
No. I mean, it's amazing what happens when a quality product actually gets released with their with the branding.
I mean, maybe tempered a little, right? Because I think, Jedi Survivor is still a little mired in the bugs, all of that, right?
Sure.
It's true.
Yeah. But like, that's just games nowadays, right?
Yeah. Every game has bugs.
Yeah. Not Zelda, but
Zelda does have bugs. Just different kind of bugs.
Yeah. Intentional.
Yeah. Intentional.
By intentional bugs, you are referring to like the crickets and the dragonflies.
The insects.
The actual the animals known as bugs. But no, Jedi Survivor is doing well, and understandably, the story is pretty good. Which we did do a spoiler cast last week. If you want to check that out on our channel, if you finished the game, of course, and want to hear our thoughts on it. Generally, though, EA's main focus is still going to be online experiences, but blockbuster stories are still kind of there for them too. A quote from Andrew Wilson here: "A great portion of our investment will go into building games and experiences that entertain massive online communities. We'll then follow up with a more focused, deliberate investment against telling blockbuster interactive stories. And we think that there will be opportunity for investment over time with the extension of those social and creative tools, both for the in-game experience and beyond the game experience." And of course,
it kind of sounds like
sports.
EA is just taking the Platinum Games approach to things, in that they're going to do a couple of things that are surefire bets, and then they will risk it. They'll put their necks on the line, which, creatively in a business, it makes sense. The safe games are worth being safe for. If it means you can make the high quality extra stuff, I'm just not sure what other high quality extra stuff they're going to be working on.
How insane is it that a Star Wars game where you play as a fucking Jedi was seen as a risk in their eyes? How absurd is that, by the way?
Who even likes the Jedi?
Like, I know Survivor was a pretty surefire thing. I'm sure internally they're thinking, all right, we got something here. But the first one, no.
Yeah. Especially with it being kind of like a little more soulsy, like it's not easy, Force Unleashed kind of energy, where it's like kind of mash it.
They thought, how do we apply to the interests of the mullet demographic, and they frankly nailed it. Very, very fantastic business decisions on their end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to forget sometimes if you're more of a like if you don't play sports games, right? EA has a lot of big sports games like that make them money. Like they don't have Call of Duty, but they have Madden, you know. So that's probably why online experiences are their major focus, right?
They have Madden, and then their college football game is coming back, which I know so many people are fucking hugely hyped for, because a lot of people like that better than Madden for a long time.
I mean, in Europe as well, it's going to be interesting to see how things go with EA Football Club, as they're now calling it. And like, you know, I'm currently on a podcast for video games. I don't know what the big differences are going to be in like what leagues they have access to now that they're not a FIFA licensed game, and now that they're a football club game. But I'm sure that, you know, that's also going to be a little bit of a question mark of, you know, with so many changes, how are the fans of not only the game FIFA, but the game football and the leagues are going to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's I hope they keep going that route where they got the steady income from their sports stuff and stuff like Apex Legends, and they could do more risky things, bigger things. Like, I think it seems weird too to think of it as risky because it's not the new next Dragon Age. Shouldn't be seen that way, you think? But
well, with BioWare's track record recently, I think
Anthem has really done a big thing, and then the latest Mass Effect wasn't as well.
I mean,
received.
wasn't the last Dragon Age also not that fantastically received?
Inquisition, I thought that won like
Inquisition won Game of the Year awards all over the place. It was very well received.
To be fair, no other game came out in 2014, but
it was pretty big.
Yeah, it was pretty good too. I think it nailed that open world-ish formula. Like it was huge open maps, like lots of side quests kind of energy. But yeah, I think with like EA so far this year has a pretty good track record of those single player blockbuster stories. I mean, Dead Space remake, which is a remake, so I mean, pretty surefire, but it's still like it's pretty well received.
And done well,
and it did more than just like it's the old game but prettier, right? They actually like revamped some of the sections to make it more palatable.
It feels so weird to talk about EA in this way with how much shit they've gotten over the years, deservedly so.
Yes.
Remember what was it that was 2 years in a row they won that like worst company in the world like the online voting thing over like banks that were turning people out of their homes
over like Nestle.
So
so it looks I've just pulled up, you know, kind of what is EA going forward that we're aware of. We've got Dragon Age that we've spoken about, Skate. We already know that they're going to throw a whole bunch of online functionality into Skate. They've got a single player Battlefield game, a Sims franchise game, some Marvel games, including Iron Man.
Yeah, that EA
and the Mass Effect game.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think Respawn has said they're working on a brand new IP, if I remember right. We just don't.
Yeah, there's an untitled game by Vince Zampella, as well as Respawn is apparently doing a untitled first-person shooter Star Wars game and an untitled strategy game in the Star Wars universe. So, EA has a pretty.
Did you say Respawn is doing a strategy game?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It says Respawn Entertainment untitled Star Wars strategy game.
Are multi-talented.
Yeah, they can. I mean, hey, I think when people expected, or when people heard about them doing Jedi Fallen Order, was like the people who make shooters, right? So now
it's like fucking the Forza people are making the new Fable.
Yeah.
Like what?
I can't wait to like do donuts in a fantasy town.
That'll fit. Like Fable was always like, do whatever the fuck. I'd be like,
so Respawn is working through what they call a production collaboration with a different studio called Bit Reactor.
His name is
familiar.
I don't know why it rings a bell, but
I'm trying to see what games they do. It looks like it was just founded in 2022.
Maybe it's just news of it being.
We're collectively developed some of the most successful games you've heard of: XCOM, Civilization, Gears of War, Elder Scrolls Online. So it's like the place where all of the veterans get together to make their own super rock band project.
Right. One last interesting bit from the EA conference call. Andrew Wilson gave a little statement about the biggest news of the year for the past year, the Microsoft Activision acquisition potential thing that's been happening. Wilson says that he is aware of it, but that it's not very material to EA as a company because, quote, we continue to be Microsoft's biggest partner. I think we're the #1 publisher on their platform. So it's kind of like humble bragging, like, doesn't matter. We're still the best on Xbox. So yeah. And then beyond that, he said that down the line, like him as a CEO, he's predicting the future in that the game space will see more and more acquisitions. This is not the last big acquisition that we will see. And he wants to make sure that EA is an acquirer and not an acquiree, that they don't become acquired or eaten by a bigger fish.
People have brought up EA as someone that could potentially be acquired someday, but it's also like, dude, EA is a lot bigger than people think about a lot of times when they ever discuss that. Like, it would be huge. It'd be bigger than Activision probably being acquired. I don't know what the numbers compare to there, but just as a gut feeling, like EA's got a lot of shit going for it. A lot of licensed stuff that it brings to the table that a lot of people don't have.
Licensed stuff, but also EA owns PopCap, which is
true that people forget about.
Yeah. It's like there's this weird like big three of Nintendo between PopCap, King, and Zynga that just like no one pays attention to, but they're like waging a war.
Yeah. So I don't know. I could see EA probably picking up bigger or like smaller studios in the long run.
I wonder what they would be looking to acquire.
Ubisoft.
Honestly, maybe.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, published by
weirdly, a lot of Ubisoft games feel like they could just be EA games for some reason.
Maybe I don't know. I feel like Ubisoft games do have a different feel, a little.
Yeah, but like if someone said, "Oh yeah, EA's now doing Assassin's Creed," I'd be like, "Okay," and they're doing this weird legacy, like live servicey version. I'd be like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Like,
yeah. I mean, the thing is though with EA, right, is they do have a history of acquiring smaller studios or bringing them in-house.
Don't go so well.
Yeah, I mean, like the Dead Space studio as an example, right? Like,
RIP, RP Visceral.
Like I'm pretty sure there are articles out there. It's like a list of every studio that EA has shut down.
Yeah, well, I think that there's the famous website, the Google Graveyard, where they've killed all kinds of people. But isn't there like an EA graveyard?
Maybe
like a lot of the ones that they talk about that come up a lot, like people probably don't know the names of very much anymore, but they were like the early days of like PC gaming in particular. These were like the big names.
Yeah, like I think they shut down the Command and Conquer studio, right?
Yeah, well, like something big like Westwood Studios. Yeah, it was humongous forever. Visceral was huge. If people remember Pandemic, they did the original Star Wars Battlefront games.
Yeah.
Like they even bought Origin, shut that down. Origin Systems was the Ultima people and all that back in the day, which is huge. Right. So like they have a bit of Maxis, SimCity. Like there's a lot of big old names that they got rid of. So BioWare somehow stuck it out. That's what everybody thought when they bought BioWare. Like, oh, BioWare's fucked. They're dead.
Yeah. I feel like BioWare is the exception, not the rule, right? Well, I mean, BioWare had a lot of...
BioWare is the shambling corpse of what it was. There's like nobody there that was there when they bought it.
Right, but I mean, back when it was acquired, like it had so much star power. Like people knew the name.
It was
BioWare.
like one of the premier devs when it was acquired.
Now, who knows, right?
Now, little marred.
Yeah. So if EA does acquire more, I mean, because like they have a history of acquiring, but I think it sounds like Wilson's thinking more about like the billions of dollars acquisition kind of deal, like them acquiring something on the level of Bungie or like ZeniMax, like that sort of energy is what I'm getting.
Yeah. Bungie was kind of like Destiny was kind of like the last like stand up for like a really big live service game that I could think of that wasn't owned by a big old company.
Yeah,
I can't think of another one.
Yeah, me neither.
Because they're all like big ass company. Like Fortnite is also like, oh yeah, they're a part of a massive company and shit. So,
I mean, and then even Destiny now is under Sony.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So now they're not even part of it. Like that was the last one I could think of that was like, okay, this is somebody that they were their own company. They did that one thing or whatever.
I mean,
who owns the Eve? Is Eve Online owned by a big thing? I don't know. I wouldn't say Eve is not as big as Destiny, obviously, but they've been around forever. I don't know.
I guess there's Star Citizen too. They're owned.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother with that.
Yeah. But
maybe EA will buy Star Citizen. That'll be
maybe it'll actually get finished
as Mass Effect.
Eve is made by CCP Games.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
Icelandic.
I don't think anybody owns them. I think they're still their own thing.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of just operate in their own little nook. Well, not but like their own nook.
If people don't know about EVE Online, like just go read some articles because it might be the most fascinating game that's played today.
Looks like in 2018 they got purchased by the company that publishes Black Desert Online, but even that is like not big enough. Really.
Yeah. Well,
weird.
Let's shift over and talk about Nintendo because we also there's a big transcript from a big Q&A with Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa. That's kind of all about the future of Nintendo, the next potential next generation of a console, Switch prices, Tears of the Kingdom, movies. Like it was a big tell-all. Some of the highlights. So they're not thinking about next gen, much like everyone else has been since 2018. But their primary focus is still expanding and re-engaging the current Switch player base, which is like over 120 million.
Well, wasn't there a recent thing where they talked about like their goal is to have multiple Switches in the household, like each household having more than one?
I mean,
which is they're succeeding with a lot of people.
Man, who would have a household with multiple Switches? That's fucking weird.
Yeah, Stretch. Who would? But it's like the 3DS, right? Like there wasn't just the one 3D. Like especially if it's a family household with multiple kids. There isn't just the one 3DS usually, right? Yeah. So I think the Switch is going that same direction. And then the Mario movie, which was even critically, it wasn't the best movie ever. It's not going to win any awards. It definitely won in the box office. Sure.
It may win Best Original Song.
Yeah, I guess.
There's been a big push. People that's going to be like
Peaches?
the big meme brain push of the internet to get Peaches.
And Jack Black saying the same word over and over again.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But
it's
also,
Jack Black does best.
Yeah. His video game song that came out like yesterday, that was fucking weird. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I did.
It's one that you need to watch the music video for.
Yeah. If you don't watch the music video, you're like, what the fuck garbage am I listening to? Because it's not that great. But it's the music video that does it.
Okay.
Because it's kind of all over the place. I was when you listen to it, you're like, what is he getting at? Like, what is the purpose of this?
And then you watch the video.
Well, even watch the video, like I guess it was just an opportunity to make anyway, if you watch, it's weird.
Okay. But yeah, the Mario movie the Mario movie did well, and that kind of led to a huge bump in sales for Mario merch, Mario games, all sorts of Mario stuff. I think Nintendo's noticing that, like, if you release a movie about our big IP, it lifts everything else up.
Yeah, it's always. I know that they. It seems like they shouldn't be surprised at all. Like it's like fucking no duh. Like if you're gonna make it cartoony and kid friendly, and it's Mario, of fucking course, people are gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Just. Yeah. Hopefully more movies will be coming.
Well, I mean, they did announce that they have that new Nintendo Pictures arm, right? That's going to be all about movies or animated stuff for Nintendo.
What do you think the internet rage is going to be when Link starts talking? think people were mad about Chris Pratt voice.
Who would voice Link though? That's the ultimate question.
I don't know.
Charlie Day.
I mean,
give me a frantic Charlie Day.
I don't know.
I mean, I just really hope that they would lean into
Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be Link.
He's got Link's cheekbones, right? So
Robert Downey Jr. is Link.
I'm thinking like Timothy Chalamet.
Oh God, that's probably it. You're probably right.
No, sorry, it's gonna be Tom Holland. That'll be it.
Actually,
yeah,
you're probably not wrong. That's probably true.
Yeah. Let's get a different big Marvel actor.
Mm-hmm. But so since then, his hope, Furukawa's hope is that with the Mario movie, it's something that has engaged new guests or new people who would play Mario, like people who want to pick up a Mario game, but also kind of engage the older people who have maybe not played a Mario game in recent years. Are like, oh yeah, Mario was fun. They'll want to pick it back up, which is a very business decision that makes a lot of sense, right? Like it's something that you prime them to think about Mario, and then they will buy Mario stuff, right?
It's the subliminal advertising from The Simpsons. Yeah. Have you seen that episode?
Yeah.
Hey, you joined the Navy. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much, right? I mean, like there isn't a scene where Chris Pratt turns to the camera and is like, buy Mario games, but that's a 90-minute ad for that, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like, you remember Mario Kart? Remember Rainbow Road?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're all, there's the new Transformers movie coming out as well. That's just marketing.
Exactly. And this is something they could probably do in the future, right? Like with a hypothetical Zelda movie, with a Metroid movie, they'll release one with Metroid Prime 4 in 2032. Who knows?
I'm a little bit surprised that they are not trying to capitalize on some kind of more immediate synergy by having a Mario title like announced to be releasing near the movie, or even just like a game of the movie. I know that the industry as a whole has kind of moved away from those movies to video game adaptations as much. I think the last one I can think of off the top of my head was Ratchet and Clank in 2016.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, and that was weird in general. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that it's just like, oh man, that was hype. Good Mario movie. I want to play Mario. There's no new Mario.
Like, it would have been fucking rad. Imagine if they'd put like a Kong Kingdom like world from Odyssey DLC.
That would have been
like that would have been a pretty perfect pairing.
Yeah, I mean, and we are 6 years now from Mario Odyssey. I mean,
Just
I guess
about
there was
6 years. Yeah,
there was Bowser's Fury, so like the kind of expansion to
the
that was a lot of fun. To Super Mario 3D World.
3D World,
yeah, 3D World. That's it. But like no new mainline Mario game on the horizon that we are aware of. But also June is next month. So
June's next month, and like when Breath of the Wild came out, that's when Odyssey came out the same year. Because what Breath of the Wild was March and Odyssey was September?
October. I want to say October. Yeah.
October, yeah.
Because it came out the same day as two other games. I think one of them was Wolfenstein 2.
Oh, I think you're right.
Something else. I don't remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game
Wild time.
Where Hitler's it's a great Hitler scene in Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah.
Not a great Hitler scene in Mario, weirdly.
Yeah, that's a mark of a bad game.
Yeah, talk about missed opportunities.
It's such a shame what's left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe that's why they didn't release DLC.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the last big thing from that Q&A, so they talked a little bit more about that $70 price tag for Tears of the Kingdom, and that won't be something that's universal moving forward. It's just a case-by-case basis, which I think they've expressed that.
Like, which one can we get away with where people are not going to notice? That's when it'll happen.
Exactly, because like from a technical perspective, I mean, I don't think the Switch is going to put out a game where it feels $70, like when you just look at the graphics or whatever. But Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, both of them really are the kind of game where you're like, that's like 50 cents an hour I could spend in this video game.
Yeah. It's I mean, and you know, something like Breath of the Wild, the sales numbers are going to be absurd. I don't even know what they're going to be. Like Breath of the Wild is big. I mean, the biggest Switch game is still like Mario Kart by like a lot. Like it's sold a ridiculous amount, like 80 million or something, I think.
Yeah.
But I'd be really curious about Tears of the Kingdom, because now that the Switch has got such a humongous base of people that own it now. It's gonna be all other developers just must be pissed. Just look over at Nintendo and be like, how the fuck?
I don't know about pissed. Maybe like jealous.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they're jealous. Like, damn, like a 20 million sold is like one of their low tier games.
That's what Nintendo's good at, right? It's like they're exclusives, but their exclusives sell millions. So
I've also seen so many people on social media and stuff, and I know someone personally who Best Buy wasn't going to get their copy to them on the day, so they just went, oh, fuck it, and they bought it again digitally. And just like, yeah, like they can get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, just to reveal a little bit about my news habits, like I subscribe to the New York Times and to Vox, right? And both of them ran big stories like yesterday and today about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm like, bro, I go to you for stuff about politics, and here you are talking about my shit, my realm, my world. You know, it's like if that's not a sign that games are mainstream, I don't know what is, right? But I have
a friend who works at NPR, and when we got caught up for drinks yesterday, she asked how it was because they'd done a segment on it.
Wow.
And she's like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. Like, I think this is the kind of thing, like, if/when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it'd be the same. Like, that's that level of, everything
crazy
about it.
That's gonna hit for different levels.
It's like, I wonder if they'll be considered like they were with Red Dead 2, and they'll be like, hey, we're gonna give you the date way far in advance so that other devs can be like, all right, don't put anything around this for like a month.
Yeah.
Like,
is that nice, or does that just come across as cocky?
I mean, it is kind of like flapping it down.
True.
Here's our release date. And you're like, all right, man, all right.
Yeah,
I see it.
I appreciate it. I respect it.
I know to steer clear. Fuck. But they can do that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, tell you what, one thing that I predicted last week, I have not heard a thing about Redfall in the past 36 hours or so. Just like,
I wonder what the Steam count is right now.
Hey, hold on. What is Redfall?
Was a little blip of the game, and it got hatred. Burying it, if they were launching the game in between these two massive releases of Jedi Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom, it would be one thing.
There's 465 people on Steam playing it right now.
Poor people. I mean, I think the most fun I had with Redfall, and this is not a joke, like last night I got together with the group of friends that I played Redfall with, and we've all had it installed still, because I think there's that weird like social tension of like, are we still going to play it together, or should I keep it installed just in case? And then one of us just broached and asked the question, and all of us collectively were so happy to uninstall it that it's probably the best Redfall moment I've had this year is clicking uninstall.
It's pretty good.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Let's talk about a game I will never uninstall from my Switch. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, we've all been playing at least a bit of it. Stretch, you've been playing arguably too much of it.
Yes, like an unhealthy amount of it.
The game's been out for 37 hours as of time of recording, and I think I've sunk in 22 or 23 hours. And
that's insanity.
I have not touched any of the main quests.
You don't have to.
Like, I have done so much there has not been a boring moment in this game. I have not gone to the Gerudo city, to the Rito tribe village. I have spent maybe 20 minutes in Kakariko village, and that's about it. And the rest has just been loving the world and playing with all of the new mechanics.
Yeah. There's a lot here that's new from Breath of the Wild. I think at least so far. I haven't run into any of the same Sheikah powers that you like. I haven't run into magnesis or cryo.
They're not there. Yeah,
the bombs. Yeah,
I wonder if they will be. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of them have been replaced, or like
I suppose
show
so.
up in different ways.
There, yeah, you do something similar to what you would do before.
Yeah, Stretch, you're about to say
there's because I mean, there's like bombs is the simple one, but we have the bomb flowers for
the back,
bomb arrows, and then there's also remote bombs that are Azoni equipment. You can like attach and detonate off shit. Master Hand is just magnesis.
Ultra Hand.
Ultra
yes,
Hand.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ultra Hand. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's magnesis with little big planet energy.
Yeah.
You stick stuff together and glue it with some green goop.
God, just combining shit is so much fun.
It's ridiculous. Before we get into all that, I am amazed at how big this game is. Just how like there's so much shit in the sky. Obviously, you start out there, but then I have not played as much as you guys. But like, I'm just seeing all the like, oh, there's a bunch of shit underground now, also on top of the old map. So
there's. Are you talking about just the caves that you walk into?
Well, there's caves and like I walked by what they call it, like a scar chasm kind of thing. They're like, you can delve into there, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, there's already a bunch of things in the sky.
Okay, so you have been to the depths.
I haven't been in yet.
I haven't
but,
either.
Okay.
I've just seen it, and I'm just thinking of like, holy fuck, there's so much in this game. It's absurd how big it is.
Okay, so that means talking points. We will not discuss the depths.
No depths. I think, to me, honestly, the most impressive thing so far, the thing that floored me was the way the game starts. Because it starts the same way Infinity War, or like Avengers Infinity War and Endgame starts, where they're like, we know why you're here. We know you've been waiting for this day for 6 years. So it's just black screen, and then it fades in Helvetica 12-point font, dead center of the screen, The Legend of Zelda.
That threw me up. I was like, what the fuck?
And then it fades out, and it just fucking starts.
Then you're going.
Like, no menus.
Some wild shit happens.
Yeah.
I'm already I've seen I'm way more into what's going on in the lore and like story of this than Breath of the Wild.
Same.
It's like,
but it just
happening.
It starts with like this level of like, it's almost like pompous gravitas, where it's like they know how big the dick is, and they're ready to.
They're doing their own version. That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a little bit arrogant, but also feels kind of deserved. It's like, yeah, everyone's been waiting for this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fascinating.
It fits, and I mean that Zelda lives for those like just over the top moment kind of things that it tries to build up.
And it's also like, this is, I mean, I guess you can kind of say Link Between Worlds was like a return to a Hyrule that we knew, but this is like the first time that like we're going into a Zelda game where we know the world, where like everything's familiar. I think that what worked really well for the Breath of the Wild opening was that Link doesn't know shit, we don't know shit. Let's figure it out together. But this one, they're like, we're not going to fuck around with this. Like, yeah, there's Death Mountain, it'll be interesting to see. I guess, actually, I have not even followed up to see if I can find the beasts anywhere.
The beasts?
The divine beasts?
Like the divine beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Note to self.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, we know the world, we don't need to, like, worry about that allows them to launch right into it. Because there's definitely been games where it's like the game throws you into a world and just starts like spouting jargon and shit as if you're meant to know it. That Tears just doesn't have to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, because I have some friends who hadn't played Breath of the Wild, but they're like, they're not really the big, like, they don't play a lot of games, but they're hearing the hype for this. And I've been like, the advice I was giving them was, you can probably wait until Tears of the Kingdom, because it's probably just going to be Breath of the Wild, but better. Like, it just, because I always think of Breath of the Wild as a toy box, a sandbox. I don't really care about the story, and I don't think most people do, honestly, because the story is just like memories. But playing through the beginning of this, it kind of feels like if I hadn't played Breath of the Wild, I would be so lost. I would be like no idea what's going on.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Great Sky Islands felt a lot more directed than the Great Plateau did.
I think that that beginning that you that where you start out, it's one of the best tutorial things in a game. It does such a good job of setting up the game.
Yeah, it is pretty organic, right? And it kind of funnels you in a direction without feeling like a hallway, right?
That it's all set up as a large ring. That you can see the one that's far away from you, but I've got this shrine right here. Let me just go to that one, and it there is no one saying you must do this. But yeah, I'm gonna go to that shrine. Like just path of least resistance. The tutorial funnels itself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there's just stuff that wouldn't make sense if you tried to do it backwards.
Yeah. Like I went the one way first to go up the snow first. I was like, oh fuck this.
Yeah.
And I had to turn around and went the other way.
Right. And then you can gather the hot peppers on the way, right? Like that way. So it all it kind of makes sense. And I guess I'm thinking more of like story perspective. I feel like a lot of that opening scene with like Zelda going through the murals. I don't know. I guess.
Well, what did I really learn in Breath of the Wild that would have helped you with that? Really?
I guess, yeah. I mean, because the game doesn't really go through the whole like this is Princess Zelda and like here's what she's about. It's just like Zelda and Link. That's it. Not much context of who they are.
I guess there's some of that, but I mean, I think with Zelda, they've kind of people know what the deal is with them, right?
Yeah.
Even people that haven't played probably know of Zelda and Link in some capacity.
That's fair. Yeah. That intro tutorial island is pretty good, and there's so many secrets on it too that like I'm sure I didn't find everything. I don't know if any of us found everything on just that tutorial island.
There's a ton of shit everywhere.
Yeah. I'm digging the shrines. I like the way I think it's easier to find them now. I mean, not that they were hard in Breath of the Wild either, because like the orange really pops, but I like the blue-green wisp that goes up. It's even easier to see.
It's kind of it because you've got the green wisp flying off them when they're locked, but then when they're unlocked, they themselves glow green, or at least like the front of them has the green sheen. Especially when you get stupid high in the air. Like every single flight I take, I just look down. I'm like, okay, tag.
Yeah. And I love that they let you use the scope for like when you're flying in the air, because in Breath of the Wild I don't think you could while you were gliding, but now they're like, fuck it, when you're falling, when you're gliding, you can use it.
A big thing is that you don't lose stamina for a lot of things that you just innately did before, which is very nice.
Did you lose stamina swimming before in Breath of the Wild? Okay, I couldn't remember.
They've definitely done some tweakings. It's much easier to climb, and you can swim much further on the same amount of stamina. That definitely feels better.
I noticed too, I did a thing where I was trying to climb a wet surface, and then I ran out of stamina because, climbing wet surfaces fucking suck. And then I fell into water, and I thought, okay, I'm going to lose a heart for that, right? But when you fall into the water, they actually gave me like 20% stamina, like they just refunded some stamina. That was like, okay, like you did a little mess up, but hey, try to get back to shore,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many QOL, like so many quality of life upgrades.
Yeah. Can we talk about the shrines themselves? I mean, we've done a few, like the tutorial ones, right? Stretch, you've done like half of them by now, maybe. But
I've probably done 30 or 40.
Jesus Christ. But I'm digging the way they are, right? Because I think I've done maybe 10, and they feel more, I don't know, I guess deep than a lot of the Breath of the Wild shrines. Like some of them are tutorial shrines where they teach you like combat, which I thought was really nice to have. But then there's some where the puzzle feels more in depth. There's a lot more multi-room shrines I've noticed than in Breath of the Wild so far, at least.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild, a lot of them were just like, oh, you figured out the one trick? All right, you're done.
Have you done any of the ones where they take away your items and equipment from you?
Not yet.
Okay. There's some really cool shrines that'll be like, you know, this is a vehicle challenge. And so you'll come in and you won't have anything. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you also can't use any of your Zonai orbs inside shrines.
Oh.
So yeah, so like the vehicle one is like you get in and there's a bunch of robots around and you have to just kind of make, like, you get a few weapons that you can do some stuff with, but the point of it is like, okay, I can like make a small vehicle here that will get me over to this larger vehicle which I can hop on, which will like, and then you like escalate that way. But there's some really cool, it's like taking what Eventide Isle was and making it a whole lot more super specific challenges. And they're so fucking good, so fucking hard.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, no, there's some challenges in there that are like, they feel a little more like dungeons, which I haven't even done a real dungeon yet, but there's just something about the shrines that I think feel a lot better in this game, or like more, you have to think a little harder, and because of the tools they give you, there's the multiple solutions are more obvious, I feel, than in Breath of the Wild. Yeah. I've noticed too, while you're talking about vehicles, man, Ultra Hand is wild, the things you can build with it. I just picked up like a Zonai orb that's just a cannon. It's just dead ass a cannon. I'm like, can I just build like a flying fortress of Doom, like just a pirate ship of cannon Doom, like flamethrowers and cannons, and that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
Sure you could. That's, I think, the biggest thing that Nintendo's really good at, and this has been really good at doing too, is there's like a crazy sense of wonder on stuff, like certain stuff, like this is really good at, like, can I do that? And then you try it and like, oh my god, it does do that, or this works just how I'd want it to. Like I was so I have my nephew was watching me play, and he's, you know, cheering on Link and whatever, and we get to the part where we get to you can use those gliders, like you set them up and they launch off and you stand on it. He was like, holy shit, he's like, I want to do that, that's cool. It's really cool. But I was like, that the way it works was just so fucking rad, just like going through the air and you walk a little bit and it'll turn, or you go down to gain speed. Like it's so simple. Like it's just a simple thing that they nail, and they do that kind of stuff all the time. It's amazing.
And I mean, it was stuff that came up in the previews and stuff, but there's an ability that you can get later that allows you to basically work off blueprints, or even off your like previous history of building things. So it's not even that you need to like worry about the game giving you like, hey, this is the way that we want you to build something. You can be like, okay, I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to add more wheels to the bottom and guns and this and that. And then like, that's what I'm going to build.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Can we also talk about the stupidest thing in the game, the fuse ability? That is it's so stupid and goofy, and I love it. So it's so,
every time I see it, just a rock on the end of a sword, I'm like, this is good. This is a good time.
This is a good video game. Like I attached a minecart to the end of a sword, and it looks so stupid. And then Stretch, you told me that like if you put a minecart on a shield, you can use it to grind on rails, which is like,
that's amazing.
You don't. I think that already just with your shield, it will like kind of magnet you onto the rail so that you can grind it. But yeah, it's just like, it's meant to save durability if you do it. There's just going to be combinations that people are trying to figure out and find for like a years.
Yep.
You know, here's one. I don't know if anyone's tried this yet, but can you attach a Zonai wheel to a shield?
Probably. Shit.
Just ride on the shield.
And just ride the shield. Yeah, just like as a little, like a unicycle.
That'd be pretty rad.
Oh shit, you probably can. Just like Link with the big wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's
my Switch is like right there. I just want to grab it and do.
That's what this game is great. I mean, Breath of the Wild had a similar feeling, right? Of like, I wonder if you can do that. And this game just turns that up to 11 with all the Zonai stuff.
I wish I could remember to give them credit, but I think it was must have been a reviewer or just someone talking about it, that that I was skeptical of hearing first, that it's like, man, it really felt like Breath of the Wild was like the prototype to this now, which is insane to think of with how much stuff goes on with Breath of the Wild. Like, that's just how much of a step up this is, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's an interview that Polygon did with the people behind Legend of Zelda that's pretty good, and it goes into how they're like, oh yeah, cheating is fun. Like, we want to embrace how you can kind of quote unquote cheat in this game. And in it, they revealed that some of these powers that you do in Tears of the Kingdom, they were already experimenting with toward the end of development for Breath of the Wild, and they decided to shelve it because they were like, this might be too much on top of everything else we have. Until they saw, like, after Breath of the Wild was out there, and people were trying to do the shit that they're like, oh, these powers would have been perfect for that. Where it's like, okay, well, there's Tears of the Kingdom.
Weird. These Zelda devs know what they're fucking doing. Weird.
Yeah,
I know what's up.
And like with such an increase, like not even just for the depths, but for how many like caves and just like slightly underground systems there are, to like get to the end of a cave, feel like, okay, I've done everything, and not have to, like, there's no worry about like, okay, how do I get back out? It's like, oh, I'm just gonna go through the ceiling.
Yeah, just gonna ascend, swim through it.
Yeah. There was so many times when I was like doing like big climbing mountains or this or that, when I like first started playing, I was like, oh, it would be so great if I could get up there. That's such a pain. And I'm like, oh no, I have an ability for that now. And it's just like, it's also this weird like muscle memory of what I can and cannot do in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And how I can throw all of that out the fucking window.
The Ascend one, when I first saw it's so weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to fit. Like, it's seems like such a specific thing that only does one thing, you know what I mean? Like, where the other ones you can see all kinds of possibilities, but like, it was whoever thought of that was like, they really need something like this.
Well, I think that was brilliant. Part of that interview that you were talking about, that Ascend was originally a dev tool. It was something that the devs used to quickly get back to the overworld when they were like testing out underground spaces, and then, you know, from there they were just like, well, you know, if we're finding it a hassle to get back out, players probably will as well.
It's such a great idea.
Like, I found myself now, like, my original, like, when I played Breath of the Wild, I would focus stamina first to upgrade that, because in my head it was like, I want to climb as much shit and as high as possible, right? Now the trick in my brain is more, I want to glide as far as possible, because there's so much shit you want to get out there to see, and there's so many ways to just shoot yourself straight up. Like, I love that the towers now, instead of like a climbing puzzle, they're all just like we're just gonna shoot you into the sky, you figure it out, right? So it's just nice to go to those and like be able to glide wherever you want to go. Some of the other towers do have puzzles associated with opening the door. Yes,
so you will still get a little bit of that, but it's not as much as the Lost Towers.
So I haven't played as much as you guys, but you do get the just regular old glider that was from Breath of the Wild that you just pop out.
You do.
Thank God, I've been missing that so much. I'm like, give me the fucking glider. Like, it's so nice to have.
Yeah, just keep doing the main quest until you get
I figured. But I was just like, damn. Especially coming off of playing the Burning Shore stuff from Horizon, because she also has a glider that's the same fucking thing as Link. Right. It's so nice to have.
But you can, if you have a short sword weapon, and it needs to be a short sword because of like the way that Link does the animation when he drops.
Yeah.
But if you jump off a cliff and are paragliding, you can pop a wing zonai out, and then immediately do the drop attack to move forward enough to land on its tail. So you can go, like, you can shoot all the way up into the sky.
I see what you're saying.
And then immediately hop onto a wing zonai. And like it has a certain time limit for it, but it means that you're not using stamina. And if you have extra wing zonai, then you can just
transfer
pop another one. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is stupid. This game is stupid.
This game's amazing.
It's so stupid.
I like that idea of, like, from the interview, like making it feel as though people are getting away with something. And just chasing that feeling all the time. Like, I bet you they didn't think of this. Like, I'm breaking the game. It's like, no, I mean, that's the intention now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's they did that so well in Super Mario Odyssey that it would be like, you know, an example off the top of my head would be like those giant doorways in underneath the Sand Kingdom, like as you're heading towards the Knuckle-Attack fight. And they've got like these giant massive doorway things, but like you can maneuver your way around and up the pylons and get onto the very top. And if you get onto the top, there's 20 invisible coins.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's just like it's so like, haha, I did it. I got to where I shouldn't have been. And it's like Miyamoto's there saying, hello, welcome. You know, here's your prize.
Here's your
Good
reward.
job.
Yeah, that's such. I think that's when I've said it a few times before, but like that's when games are at their best, is when you feel like you've had a eureka moment, or you've pulled something out, or you figured something out. And that's all this is. That's and that them saying that feel like you're cheating that's exactly what that is. It's a brilliant way to put it, and a great feeling to chase, because that's really the best moments in games, when you feel like you've done that.
Like, I think what I love too is that it's very versatile, and like everyone's gonna build something differently. Like there's that one Korok seed puzzle in the tutorial town where it's like that one Korok wants to get to his friend, and there's that rail that leads to it. So it's like the obvious solution is they give you like these hooks and then like a platform, so you can like you know just ride down the rail. And I didn't do the puzzle and then I watched like a streamer play it, and it's like I didn't know you could pick up the Koroks at the time. You can just ultra hand them and glue them to whatever, which is so funny.
Yeah, I just threw them in a minecart and pushed them over there.
Yeah. But so like for me, the way I solved the puzzle is like, okay, there's 2 hooks and 1 wooden platform, so I'm going to attach both hooks to it and ride down. Then I saw someone else, they only attached 1 hook to the center, and it still worked. And then I saw someone else where they just attached only the hook to the rail thing and then just grabbed onto it, like climbed onto it, and it would roll. It would still ride down.
Good
So
idea.
it's like there's a bunch of different solutions, and it's all just like they all work.
Yeah.
There's the same like kind of Korok that like, oh, I need to go to my friend, and it like stretches across central Hyrule Field. So someone just attached 4 big wheels to the Korok.
That's so good.
Stood on the Korok.
That's
stood on
such
the
a
Korok
good
and
idea.
then slapped down, and they just took off.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've already seen all kinds of people like building like human frames out of everything glued together, and then attaching fire zonai to the end of a penis that will then like flail in the wind.
That's amazing.
It's making its own
TikTok is already TikTok is already filled with people creating all kinds of cool fucking shit.
Yeah. Like it has.
We're just started. It's who knows where we're gonna go.
Right. Next week we're gonna be like, I've killed Ganon 7 times, and here's how. Here's all 7 different ways, or some shit.
Here's the giant mech I built to beat Ganon.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know that like variety streamers like Point Crow, who has done like beating Breath of the Wild with only a stick kind of content. I know that he's already wanting to do like a meat weapons only run and stuff.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Yeah, this game, it has a very Minecraft quality to me. Like when Minecraft first came out, like back in the day, where it's just like the possibilities feel endless.
Yeah.
It has that feeling to me right now, because like it's not quite as like, it's not voxels or anything, and the Zonai tools all have rules to them. Like they all have a specific function. But it's how you use that function and what you attach it to that feels so endless to me, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't had like, there's so many great ways to utilize the powers with the Zonai tools as well. Like, you know, if you just have the wing and it's just on the ground, hold it up in the air, put it back on the ground, and then reverse time. And you just like set yourself up for launch, and it's just so many fucking simple solutions that are just going to be mind blowing.
So
this game is ridiculous, man.
I won't go too far into it as well, but the story that I have experienced so far has been really, really good. as well. So I'm looking forward to kind of more people catching up to that to have bigger discussions about the fuck's going on in Hyrule.
Right. If I'm going to be honest with you, man, I don't think I'm going to touch the story for another like 3 weeks. I think I'm just going to.
Hey, even if you just get the memories,
Fair.
just let me know when you've got the memories.
I'll keep an eye on.
One thing I do want to talk about too, because it was potentially the most divisive thing about Breath of the Wild, was the weapon durability system. I know some people were really not a big fan of that in the original game. You know, it can be a little frustrating sometimes. And I think this game's solution is the fusibility, right? Because you can attach a sword to a sword, you know, like it's that sort of stuff. I'm just curious how you're feeling, both of you, how you're feeling about this new kind of take, because it's still durability, like weapons still break, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think when we did a reaction video to that short presentation where they showed everything for the first time not that long ago, and I said, and I agree, now having used it, I think my initial reaction to it was right, that it's the perfect marrying to that idea of like, because the whole point of it originally, Breath of the Wild even, was like, okay, you get to use more stuff, like you'll experiment with other things, and now it's like, oh, now okay, this sword with a rock is broken, but now I want to make a sword with a whatever the fuck else, see what happens with that. And so now it's like, it's not like, oh man, I lost the thing. It's like, oh, now I get to try a new fucking weird thing all the time, and it works perfectly because there's like endless combinations. Like it'll it's perfect.
It does such a good job of rewarding exploring as well. You know, going somewhere with a higher level enemy, you know, if you manage to defeat that enemy and get an extra special horn off it that has, you know, so much more damage than what you're used to, it kind of helps. It helps like ramp you up in terms of what you can do.
Yeah.
And like how, you can have just started the game, but you can have a weapon that's dealing 40 damage relatively quickly if you have the skills to fight the thing with your level 4 stick.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed the Boko arms, like when it's like when it's nighttime and the skeletons come out, they're like high damage, but they break really quick. So it's kind of one of those, like maybe fuse it to a stick, and so then you can do like 1 or 2 big hits, right? Like, it's like that's how you kind of strategize now. I don't know. I think it's kind of fascinating the way the fuse system works and how it changes the way you think about kind of every weapon. You know, like it's not so much like I need to stock up on soldier broadswords, but more how many soldier broadswords can I attach to what and how and why.
Yeah. Well, even like if you get something like, oh, I found a stick or something else, it's not as disappointing anymore. Like, oh, I'll just throw some fucking wacky shit on it, and there we go. There's a thing.
Like no matter where you are, chances are in your inventory you have something that will help bring a stick up to a workable level.
Yes. And I like too that it kind of reframes monster parts too, because with Breath of the Wild, they're meant for elixirs. I did not give a shit, and I did not make many elixirs.
Inventory is full of it. You never used it.
Yes, but now it's I do worry a little bit what this game is going to look like at hour 20, hour 30, because already like Sure, yeah. Okay, I'm not worried anymore. No, but the one thing I do worry about is like if you hold up on the D-pad, that brings up like your quick inventory, which is like all the things you can slap onto stuff or throw on the ground, right? And it's already feeling pretty big to me, and it's just a left to right scroll. So I do worry, like
I see what you
mean. At some point is it gonna be too like I'm looking for that one I'm looking for this thing, you know?
So yes, the scroll is ridiculous, especially now that I have like a Boko horn, a strong Boko horn, a blue Boko horn, a black Boko horn, a silver Boko horn. And you know, that's like the Boko horns alone can take up your whole inventory. At that point, what I have then primarily been using, especially when it comes to like the arrows and stuff, is just the frequently used.
Yeah.
Because I'm now at the point where, like, you know, hey, I use the Aracuda eyes, I use the bombs, sometimes wings, fire chew jellies, water chew jellies, lightning chew jellies, and that everything is right there. Oh, and the glow plants.
Right.
But yeah, it is stupid if it is like, oh, I got something new, I want to use that. That's a pain in the ass, 100%. But if you're just cycling between, like when you pull up your wheel and you use the most frequently used and Zonai equipment, you're relatively fine.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, this is like, I just want to go back and play it. I just feel like that's just gonna be me for the next weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've been wanting to say, because I know how far I'm in it. Like I've almost wanted to like have some kind of like tiered channel system in Slack. I don't want to say anything publicly. Like most of the talking that I've been doing has been in the guide channel. Even then, I felt bad saying some of the stuff. But I just want to like, if you have done X, you can now talk about Tears of the Kingdom in this room, and like building up tiers of like what we are allowed to talk about.
Tiers of the Slack channel.
Yeah, exactly. I need tiers of the Slack
that didn't
channel.
land like he wanted.
It really did not land. Nope, it did not.
So I was busy thinking about how great the title of the game is, and I was like, yes, so good.
Oh man,
I'm gonna be mainlining this game for the next 2 weeks,
pretty much.
Well, so you're the furthest of all of us, and like, without spoilers, would you say you're 10%, 20%? Like, how much have you scratched on the surface, do you think, so far?
I mean, if we were to like go by like numbers of things, like I've definitely been seeking out some of like the bigger looking quests. I've opened up 100% of the map. In terms of the towers, I've maybe gotten 30-40 shrines. I haven't done any of the main quest lines. I've gotten the 11 memories. I've got the Master Sword. But like my depths map, I maybe have 15% of it unlocked. Done a whole bunch of exploring down there. There's some really cool enemy mechanics that go on down there. And there's a few more big quests that I'm immediately looking at to go to, but like I think that I'm really just at the surface. God. Which is wild.
Yeah. This is a big
like,
game.
when we start talking like us, I'm amazed how fucking big it is. As soon as I saw that chasm, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. On top of the whatever's new going on with the map we already knew, and then the stuff in the sky, I was like, holy shit. Because there was at one point, I think it was the first well or something, which I haven't done yet. They're like, oh yeah, you got to find all the shit in the down below. It's in the deep depths of the world. I'm like, oh fuck, like that's huge. It's massive.
It's so crazy that so much of like the marketing and the push was to, hey, check out these sky islands, and you can rise up to the sky islands and check out these sky islands. Yeah. And then the game launches and it's like, surprise, motherfuckers, there's a tiny amount of sky islands. Yeah. There is an entire map the size of the overworld underneath the overworld.
It's low rule.
It's not a story spoiler as well, but when the dragons disappear, they go under. So there will be times that you will be innocuously like flying over and dropping into a chasm to have a dragon coming up the other way at you.
That's kind of badass.
And when like the fire dragon makes everything insanely hot around him, it starts to immediately like start killing you as you are trying to drop into this.
It's amazing.
Yeah, this game is amazing. I want to play more. Yeah. Also Matt Mercer at the beginning, the Giga Chad mummy. There's That was kind of fun. That was like, you know, the
Daddy
whole
Dwarf. I think he just changed his Twitter bio
to Daddy Dwarf.
No, he had like a interview with Variety or something. Thirst Trap Ganon Daddy.
Ah, beautiful.
He would, yeah.
I mean, it's just the way I feel like they earn because, you know, you go back to 3 Hearts, they got to give you a reason to start over again, right? They gotta.
I thought that was rad. Like usually games like that, it always feels so like contrived. You're like, all right, hey, I like, oh, I was in the ocean, and all my stuff fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, whatever.
Right.
But this fell, I was like, oh fuck, Link's getting fucked up, and like even just the part where they cuts his cheek, he's like, that's fucking it, buddy. Like,
this is the sword that seals the darkness.
That's all you got,
piece of shit,
man. And that he loses his fucking arm.
Yeah, that was rad. That was super rad.
But like they really earned the whole like starting from scratch because you know when the game starts, right, you're decked out. You got like the maxed out champion's tunic. You got
30
the
hearts.
master sword, all your hearts. Yeah,
that's more than you could even get in Breath of the Wild if you 100% completed it.
It's great
because you could only get to like 3 hearts short.
I kind of like when we were talking about like the surprise of like the depths and like going underneath. I almost wish like even if they showed so little of this game before it came out, they had that 1 10-minute thing where they showed stuff or 20-minute thing, and that was kind of it. I almost wish I hadn't even seen that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like because there's just so much cool shit, surprising stuff, and I know that I haven't even gotten an inkling of all the stuff. It's great.
How fucking terrifying is that first encounter with a like?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I know what
the big worm things.
So
that, like, the red ball pops out and you've got to shoot it with an arrow.
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I just
those are
bombs.
Those are recurring enemies. Yeah.
Yeah, but they drop like a unique resource, right? I don't know what you use it for yet, but
I eventually
like stone.
Get that like put one of those fire breathing things on a shield, and I was like, "Fuck off, dude!" Just spray that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should call it here maybe because I think we all just want to keep playing more, and I'm sure that the people listening want to play more.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
It is a good video game. It is
like Breath of the Wild is one of the best reviewed games of all time, and this is much better than that game. Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, this feels way better. But yeah, I think that does it for this week's episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We hope you enjoyed. And if you did, let us know in the comments down below. What is the weirdest, wildest, craziest fucking thing you've done yet in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? Because we want to know, you know, if you found a weird ass shrine by doing something crazy, or if you like built a mecha machine of death, let us know in the comments down below. And if you want more of us, we're always publishing news, features, reviews, etc. at techraptor.net. Or if you want more of this show, we'll be back in your feed next Monday, and we will see you then.